amazing ladies in business. Welcome to the HerStory podcast. I'm your host, Kylie King, the founder of Australian Ladies in Business Initiative, and I am so excited to be joined today by the amazing Tracey Francis from TM Conveyancing Services. Now, not only has Tracey been a long-term member of the ALIBI community, she also won the 2023 ALIBI Award for Enduring Brilliance. And then last year, she won the 2025 ALIBI Award for Aspiring Leader of the Year. I am so glad that I've finally been able to grab you and contain you for this podcast interview. So thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thanks, Kylie. Thanks for having me. Finally getting me to nail me down and commit. All good.
Yep, we've got you all ready to go. So for any of the listeners, what do you do? What's a conveyancer, Tracey?
Oh, conveyancer. So I'm based in Melbourne. For those who don't know, I'm not a Sydney or any of the other states. I'm down here it's actually beautiful today here in Melbourne. So conveyancer, we do all the documents, everything that's needed to transfer properties from one person to another. That might be that you're buying a property or selling a property or transferring a property to something else, or your relationship might have broken down and you need to transfer it, or you're buying a commercial thing, or you're developing a property and doing it into all different size blocks and stuff like that, subdividing it. We do all that sort of work.
Beautiful. So what made you get into that?
Well, I think I sort of fell into it in high. I did year 12. I passed year 12 by 1%. Yay! But when I did year 12 back in the day, I really enjoyed doing law, and I thought, oh, well, there's two things I like. I'm good at typing, and I really enjoyed the law part of it. So I had after we finished year 12, my mum gave me a kick up the arse and said, you got to go and get a job. So I went out there and had a look, and I got initially a job as a legal receptionist in the city. And at that time, I probably even really didn't know what conveyancing was. I mean, we'd done a bit of law studies in year 12, but that was all like case law and court law and stuff like that. So I got a job as a legal receptionist, and he trained me up to be a conveyancer. I wouldn't have known what it was, or you know what the intricacies of it was. And started on the good old manual typewriter. Especially in the law firms like that, you had the old parchment paper, so if you made a mistake, you had to rip it out and start again. It wasn't, that's a lot of pressure. And then, of course, we got, I worked for him for nearly 10 years, I think, and then unfortunately he got a terrible cancer in his sinuses, quite a rare cancer, so he ended up passing away. And that sort of moved us all forward with our journeys. So after that, I sort of just flitted around. I did a bit of contracting work, just floating around because it was good money, being a contractor. So and had no commitments. I wasn't married or had any kids or anything like that. So floated around, did that for a while, and then landed a contract for a little while that was quite good. I think I was meant to be there for 6 months. I ended up being there for 3 or 4 years or something like that. And then after that ended, I thought, oh, you know what, I'll just have a crack at starting up my own thing. So I just started doing it for family and friends and stuff like that. So I had a side hustle, if you like. So doing that for family and friends. And then I got married, had some kids, was on and off, working full-time, part-time, that sort of thing. And then I got a permanent part-time gig that I really enjoyed, and I ended up being retrenched from that. So after that retrenchment, I said to my husband, just give me 6 months, and if I want to have a crack at doing it all by myself, like solely me, running my own show, put my feelers out there, give me 6 months, and if it doesn't work, I'll go and get another job. And I've never looked back. So yeah, in hindsight, the retrenchment was a blessing in disguise, and I had a little bit of the retrenchment money behind me to move the business forward, and off we went. And I think that was now, oh goodness, probably 20 years ago, 18, 20 years ago. But the business has always been there. So I say that I've been practicing for nearly 30 years. So, in that respect, but a lot of, you see a lot of changes, gone from the as I said, the manual typewriter to the good old Wang computer where the keyboard was attached to the big old dinosaur computer
Yeah.
thing. And then, yeah, move forward with all the different changes, technology, laws, everything.
Also, just to go back a little bit, like how supportive your husband was to go, okay, here's 6 months, give it a whirl and see what happens.
Yeah, yeah, I was very fortunate, and the kids were young too. So you're still juggling, juggling school stuff, sports stuff, friend stuff, all that stuff, and then trying to work, and then hope that you've still got an income that's covering A, what you were earning before, and B, that that it's enough and it's not just a little bit of play money. So yeah, he's very good, my husband. Yeah, he's been around in my life for about 35 years, so I joke that you get less for murder, but I did say that to Wayne on the radio, but he had to cut that out. But anyway, that's okay.
That's why you don't need to cut it out on this podcast. That's fine. That's fine, unless YouTube has anything to say, but I'm all good with that. But you must like him. You've kept him around for
Yeah,
35
yeah, he
years.
goes all
So,
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
he goes all right.
See,
So
my grandmother used to say after that length of time, still trying to look for their pot of gold. You've just
yeah,
been unsuccessful.
yes. I have to keep looking under the bed, see how we go.
So going back to your business, with all of this, like it over, as you mentioned, you've been practicing for 30 years now, and there has been changes in technology, there's been changes in laws and legalities and, your role really. What's kept you going? Like what's kept you saying, I want to just keep doing this instead of just throwing it in and
Yeah.
doing something different?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I really love it. I think that I'm quite passionate about it. I think I'm good at what I do and I really love it. I really do enjoy it. I love this. Like, it's extremely stressful. It's an extremely stressful profession. Yeah, in many different attributes of all the different areas. There's a very high stress threshold, whatever the word is. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I just say wine helps. That's what I say all
It
the
is
time.
true because it would be stressful because it's like a big houses are people's biggest investments in their lives and they
People's
take out some.
lives. Yeah, it's people's
Yeah.
people's livelihoods that you're dealing with, and that for me, because I pride myself with the business on customer service and being quite reactive to whether that's phone calls, emails, or whatever communication. And that's why I get frustrated now, like you see moving forward, that you've got, you can't speak to a human being anymore. You're speaking to a bot, or there's no phone numbers anymore. You can't pick up the phone and say, oh, hang on a sec. You don't have that rapport with anyone in the different departments and banks and government departments. They're not there anymore. So you don't know good old Merrill who had been working there for 30 years. You know what I mean? You can't call them anymore. So you're just a random number that you're going to send an email and you're going to hope that you get the answer that you want or get the result that you want so that you can move it forward. But then someone's waiting for their settlement. They're in a truck waiting to move into their brand new house. You can't get banks to sign off. You're in their hands. You can't control it. You've just got to sit there. You've got to wait and see if and when they do it. And you're going, "Argh!" You're getting very frustrated. But that's the difference. I think that technology has advantages, but it also has disadvantages with that. So as much as, as at the moment in the profession, it's very streamlined. There was an incident that happened, I think 2 weeks ago now. I can't remember, 2 or 3 weeks ago now, that was kept quite hush hush. So there was an issue at the RBA, the Reserve Bank of Australia, and all the settlements froze. So there wasn't any settlements for 24 hours. But it's not on the news. It's not anywhere. But can you imagine how much pain that caused everyone? So it was something like 500 or 700 settlements for that day that didn't go through. So I was fortunate I think I had 5 that day. And I was fortunate on that day to be able to get those people into their houses, like the people. So they're all buying. So owners allowed them to move in. But then there was a deck of card effect. Like if one had said no, then they couldn't move out to move in and that sort of thing. But that's something that we're using a system that the government makes us use. We have no choice. We have to use it. There's only one system. And then when that happens, everything freezes and we can't control it's not like old school where we'd rock up in the city with our briefcases and our bank checks and our documents and we'd change it all over and do all that stuff. And now, because that system has got the anomaly of the market, that it just throws everyone into a spin, and you can't do anything about it. You can't control that, and you try to appease your clients, but then it rolled through into the next day. So I'm sure there's other practitioners out there that weren't as fortunate as me, that they couldn't get their people in there. So that again is the stress of part of the day, really.
So as you pointed out, like it sounds like technology can be great, but there are also downsides because
Yeah.
unfortunately you don't know why that occurred, whether it was a blackout or someone's hit something or, it's just a system error. Um, but, until you can get someone to fix it or AI to fix itself, yeah, then that can cause a lot of strain. And it does, as you mentioned, it's someone's livelihood. And I don't know how I feel about leaving that to mostly tech. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's in someone else's hands, which is
And
a bit like, wow.
especially this day and age now, like you're not dealing with, back when I started, I'm dealing with like 30, 40, $50,000 properties, right? Now you're talking one, two, three, four, $10 million properties. So, it's not just it, even though it's sort of relative in the value, it's not. So, yeah, it's can't think of the
The
word.
higher the price point, and yet we've just released more of that into the realms of technology is a
Technology.
bit, yeah, crazy,
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So, would you say that's been your biggest challenge this year so far, or has there been another challenge that you've encountered as a business owner?
Um, I've had challenges with my staff. So at the moment, I don't have any staff. I don't know whether I will go back to. I'm looking at sort of staff options in relation to maybe a VA or some AI stuff. Uh, I'm going to see how it sort of pans out for the first half of the year and see how we go. With the other issue with that, the AI, the VA, or whatever role I go down, I've got to look at my insurance, because
Yes.
my professional indemnity insurance is a significant kick anyway, let alone um, if they allow you to, or if I do sign up with someone like that, what are the ramifications if something did go array? Am I then responsible? Do I have to check if I had to check everything that the VA or the AI is doing? Well, what's the point? Might as well just do it myself. So I'm also a little bit of a control freak. So, and because it's my own business, like I since I've had no staff, I've besides take away the fact that we're leading Christmas was crazy and stuff like that. Take that out of it, but since I've had no staff, yeah, okay, all right. So I've got to start at 6 and finish at 7, but that might be for 2 days a week. So if I have to do an extra 10 hours a week to not have someone, but that's my personal mentality. Not everyone would be like that. So, and I'm fortunate I don't have kids at home anymore, so I've got those hours to be able to do that. The business has grown to a point where it's great, it's awesome, it's awesome. Really happy with the way it's going, and we don't pay, well, I don't pay, I keep saying we, but I don't pay any like referral fees or anything like that to get the work to come in, so I purely, that doesn't sit well in my mantra. So the majority of my work that's generated now, lately in the last 12, 18 months, has been more word of mouth, or like getting the clients to write a Google review, and then people will be able to do that. Because if we circle back, that's the term, right, that they use now, isn't it? To the conversation, what I was saying before about the AI. So I ask my clients, how did you find me? Like, pre-existing client. Are you referred by a friend or whatever? And a couple at the end of last year just coming up said AI. They found me through AI.
There
Yeah,
you
so
go.
I'd love to know what they're typing into AI to find me.
Ooh, well, that's good. One, you'll have to ask them, but it is, if you've got good SEO and you're using good Google reviews, then AI is more likely to go, hey, this is what's happening. And I'm noticing that a lot too, even with the new members we're getting in the Australian Ladies in Business Facebook group. A lot of them are saying that they've found us through ChatGPT or AI
Yeah, right.
or Gemini. So it's good to know that, there's that extra bit of marketing and, we've got stuff that AI is recognizing the
Yeah,
businesses, which is
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. So that's, and it costs nothing.
So, as a conveyancer, can you only do the area you're in, or can you do different parts of Australia, or how does that work?
Yeah, so I'm only licensed, so you have to be licensed in, oh, well, Australia now, you have to be licensed. So I'm only licensed to do it in Victoria. But if I wanted to go and be further educated, there's other girls that I know that are, oh, not just girls, sorry, I shouldn't just put it in the female basket. Other people that I know that are licensed in other states as well. But I'm getting too old. I'm moving towards retirement end, not re-education end. So if I was a bit younger, maybe with the new technology now that's in place for that, I might think about it. I don't know how difficult it is to go and get re-educated, or or what it involves. But I mean, again, back when they first brought in the licensing in Victoria, you had to go and do a course, and I think it was 2 years to begin with, part time in the city at night, like night school. And then we all did that, and then with about 6 months, we were nearly finished, and then they decided they were going to change some of the legislation, so we had to do another 6 months. So we had to do another so we did 2.5 years of this course, and I don't even know. So that's like, I think licensing came in 2008. I'd have to Google it. I can't. Oh, 2006 maybe. I can't read my license from here. But anyway, really irrelevant. But now you don't even have to do that course. You can go and do it online. It takes like 3 months, and they give you your license. So sometimes some of us in the industry get frustrated with that because it's like they're just issuing them from a cereal box. Whereas, we've had to do, we've been in the industry for a long time before we've even gone and got our license, but at least they should have to go and, that's great. Get your license. That you have to if you want to run your own business. But you've got to get real life experience. I reckon it should be like a minimum 5 years or something like that. That they've got to have work for a firm or someone to get that online experience. Because even today, I'm still going to my solicitor, the practice solicitor, say, oh, I just want to run this by you. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? So you're still learning stuff every day, every week, and I've been doing it for 35 years.
I think they've done a lot of that across the industries where, even certain things that would take such a long time, you can now just go and do a quick online course
Yeah.
and you don't have the same like experience or knowledge and things like that. But they seem to be fast tracking a lot of those sort of things in different areas, unfortunately. But you did bring up a good point that I want to mention. You said you're not here for re-education, you're getting ready for retirement.
Mm.
And I think that's something we've never really spoken about in the community yet or on this podcast. Have you got plans? Like, have you made, I guess, an exit strategy with your business for retirement?
Yeah, so well, at the moment, as I said, because I've got no staff, I want to just assess this year and sort of see how it goes. And then I did some it's been rebranded at the beginning of the year, so I've rebranded the website and my email signature and stuff like that. Not that that's got anything to do with the retirement, but just make it a whole new,
Hmm.
fresh sort of thing. Because my thinking is that if I can potentially just keep me and work for the next 5 years and then sell the business and then stay around like part time either in the business or working for someone else, just because I think I'd get bored, Kylie. I think I think I'd be bored out of my brain if I was just sitting at home. I think
You just have
and
to
I
spend more time with hubby.
oh god, well
Spend
he's
more time with hubby. You'll be
oh
together by
god,
40 years by then.
yeah, but I'm like William, if I have to spend full time with him, God. God, I don't know how we'll go with that. I mean, I did spend 8 weeks with him overseas a couple of years ago when we were all right, but there was other people around us with that. Anyway, that's a side hustle. That's a side note.
So is that, so you're already sort of looking, so your hope for retirement would be, say, roughly about 5 years, but
Yeah,
still doing something, but retiring mainly and just, I
yeah,
guess keeping your mind busy because you will get bored. I think I would get bored too if I had to retire.
yeah. Well, I think
So,
also, and I'm was also finding now, like, because I was so busy leading up to Christmas, like it was so busy, and at the moment it's just really nice. And I said to my husband, I think I just have to learn how to breathe again. Like I'm not just like I've got another pile of 20 that I've got to get done for next week. At the moment, that's just nice. It might be 7 instead of 20. So it's you got to just learn to zen, breathe. Just and that's my other thinking of if I wasn't working, and then what would I be doing? Well, I don't want to be sitting on the couch Netflix binging. So I mean, of course,
I don't know. I saw in your profile you got a nice new boat. I'm guessing it's your boat, not hubby's. So you could go on
the
the boat
boat,
more often.
bloody boat, jeepers. Yes, we got a boat. That's his little new toy. So yeah, we had a boat a long time ago. And then the kids really grew out of it. Yeah, and my son got sick, so we just decided it's just too hard. We'll just sell it. And then now, because we've got the grandkids and the kids are all over it. So when are we taking it out? When are we taking it out? But yeah, we'll see how the boat goes. I've shut him up for now. He's got his boat, so let's just see what I can get. Hey.
Well, we talked about the challenges. If we were to flip that, what would you say has been your biggest achievement as a business owner?
Oh well, winning your awards, babe. Come on.
I know that, but you have to say it. So I
Um,
can take it as a
I
clip.
think I think I definitely I think because I came with ALIBI. I think I joined up after the first. You been going a year, I think, or
Yeah.
had just
Oh, the
yeah.
awards had been going a year, yeah.
Yeah. So I joined up then, and so as you said, I won the Enduring Brilliance in 2025, and then I won the Aspiring Leader last year. It's certainly chuffed. I had no idea last year. Last year you got me a good, and I drank a bottle of wine by the time I got up on that stage. Wayne said to me, I was watching you and I knew that you were going to win, and I'm watching you gun down these wines because my table was up the front. And I'm with who was I there with? Well, I think I was with Sarah and someone else. I can't remember now. So that's really bad, ladies. Whoever's listening. And when he said my name, and I went, oh fuck. And then you played my song, so I'm dancing to my Walking on Sunshine song, and then I thought, oh god, now I've got to get up the stairs. Lucky I haven't got massive heels on. And then I don't even know what I said. I probably just mumbled out some bubbles and whatever, and said thanks and walked off. I don't know, but anyway, you got me a good. That's another side note. Sorry, guys. Oh, excuse me. That proving to myself that I could do it, proving that as I said earlier, that in that 6 months that I could really get it flying, and going, and never had to not even hesitate and think about for 1 second looking back to go back to work for someone else. Probably that. Being able to manage it from home, run it from home, that's it's to be that flexible is really good, really good. But I mean, I'm a service-based business, so I'm sure a lot of the people listening are a product-based business, so it's a bit of a different scenario in that respect.
So I know we talked about re-education and then into retirement, but do you have like a big goal for TM conveyancing services?
I probably should have one of your vision boards up, shouldn't I, with my little bingo.
Yeah, a little bingo. Or like, is there a big, hairy, scary goal you want to achieve before you start, looking at retirement, before you go on to your next adventure?
I just like to have it in a really good place that it's ready to sell. But I mean, a business is only worth what people want to pay for it, right? And then a business is only worth sometimes the people that work in it. So I've had other friends who have sold their practices and then they've watched it go down the toilet because they're not run the way that they ran it, and they just have to let that go. So that frightens me a little bit to know that potentially that could happen.
Well, I was going to ask too, because yours is TM, which is, I'm guessing, to do with your initials or
Yeah,
something, like you have a memory behind the TM. So how do you feel about selling that to someone and then having them not only run your business and
yeah.
looking after your clients, but having that, I guess, your legacy, that name behind the
Reputation.
business?
Yeah, your
Yeah.
reputation sort of. Yeah, that's. scary scenario to think about, and because I've seen it happen firsthand. But again, you can't control the things you can't control either. So maybe I'll be in Italy when that happens, Kylie. I'll
As
be
long as you
swanning around
stuff me
Europe.
in your suitcase. At least you stuff me in your suitcase.
Swanning around
That's
Europe.
fine.
I think that's what my mentality is just going to have to be, right? And that part of my mantra is you can't control what you can't control. It is what it is. So it's happened. You got to deal with it. Whatever. That's part of everyday business as well for me.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, you can't control that. You couldn't even put a patent on that, as part of the condition in the business contract. You just couldn't. It's different. It's different than saying, oh, I can't then go off and start another business 5Ks away. That's different. That would be in the contract. But yeah, you can't.
It's just really blessing and releasing and allowing that new owner to take on that baby and parent it in the way it needs to,
Yeah,
or
and then
they think is right.
some of them are then buying the business. So if it's someone, for example, who's staying in the industry or currently has a business, but is got and they buy mine, they'll absorb that into their name
Oh, yes. Very true.
anyway.
That's a different way to look at it. Yeah. So they're just really buying the client list, I guess, and the information there to then absorb that into their business.
Yeah, and the intellectual property.
Mm. So, as because you've been doing this for 35 years and you're an absolute expert, amazing conveyancer, for anyone that's listening,
Thanks,
what's
Kylie.
one tip, of course, what's one tip that you would share with the listeners about conveyancing or about all your years of experience in business, or about how you don't, hurt your husband on the daily? No, I'm
On the
just
daily. Well,
joking,
he's
but
not here, thank God. That's all right. No. My tips would be learn from your mistakes. Um, you're going to make mistakes no matter what. So don't think that you're qualified. You know everything. No one knows everything about everything ever. There's that challenges. I think the challenges I'm facing at the moment is now clients are using AI, so they're using GPT to tell me how to do my job. So, yeah, that's interesting in certain aspects of that. And then I'll go back and then I'll say, okay, well, Chat GPT mightn't actually be exactly correct in that. But that's only going to get more and more, not less and less. So that again, that's a learning how you react to that, how you deal with that, take a breath, count to 10 sort of scenario. Yeah, clients are going to piss you off, right? Customers are going to piss you off. That's just a fact of life. You're never going to have a business that you're going to please 1,000% of people 1,000% of the time. It's never going to happen. So you've just got to learn to, if it's a face to face, but obviously back in the day it was all face to face. You didn't have the internet, you didn't have emails. It was all in the post or on the fax machine or people coming into the office. So you've got to learn to build that customer relationship or deal with those personalities. You're going to have Mr. Cranky old man come in and say whatever, and it's going to happen. So you have to learn to nod and smile and take a breath and take another breath and then hopefully appease Mr. Old Man into liking you and knowing that you're the best conveyancer around, sort of thing. So yeah, you've got generation issues, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's challenging, and I think for me it's going to get more challenging. And sometimes this might sound a bit weird. I don't know, maybe because I'm getting old, but I used to look at my mum. She's nearly 80, and she's still with her mobile phone and her emails and her iPad and her whatever's, right? And then back in the day, you didn't have any of that. And then I look at myself now and I go, oh God, well, I'm in my mid-50s, heading more towards 60. Am I going to turn into the grumpy old man that comes into the front desk? But it's again, it's the different technology because she's on her FaceTime and she's FaceTiming the grandkids and she's FaceTiming the great grandkids and yeah, so
Don't worry, Tracy, there's a class for that. So
is
when I'm
it?
not doing all these things, yeah, I teach. I actually teach at a college, and my two classes I have is it's called Tech Savvy Seniors, and the
Yeah.
seniors come to my class and they bring me. I call them panda moments. They bring me when they've wanted to throw their phone or their computer through a wall, and they come to me and I teach them how to use it. And it's actually, I believe it's part of Telstra. Like Telstra puts funding out there to teach these
Oh,
classes.
really?
So yeah, so I teach two classes during the week to teach. So whether they're grumpy or not, but seniors can actively use their phones and their computers without wanting to throw them in something. So there are classes out there, Tracy, don't stress.
There's hope for me yet when I'm 80, and there's the
There's
whole AI. Excellent. All right, maybe I'll come to you.
there's
Maybe I'll
hope.
fly up to Sydney. I'll fly up to Sydney, and you
Come
can.
and join my class. They're always lots of
Yeah.
fun. We always end up doing weird things and there's so many stories there. But last thing before I forget, how do we stalk you? How do the listeners come and if they're in? So you do the whole state of Victoria?
Yep,
Is
all
that
of
where you're
Victoria. Yep, all
licensed?
of Victoria.
Yep. So
So
if we want
and
a conveyancer, where do we
yep,
go?
yep. So tmconveyancing.com.
Yep.
I've got a Facebook page. Well, I think you can just Google TM Conveyancing and it pops up. There's an Insta page there too. I just put funny stuff on Insta, people, so don't think it's anything sort of serious. It's just a little bit of muck around stuff. Yeah, that's sort of how you find me. I offer a fixed price, so I think I'm competitive with my other people in the industry around this area because I offer a fixed price so people know what they're getting for their money. I think that I'm very transparent in I hope that I'm easy to talk to if you ring me up and ask me a question. I always say to the clients there's no such thing as a stupid question, so hopefully that appeases them a little bit. Good at hand holding. Yeah, that's sort of the what's the word? How I think sometimes that I generate more business by offering the fixed price. And yeah, being reactive and transparent.
I love that fixed price because then there's no little hidden sneaky fees that come and
Yep,
bite you on the bum later.
yep, yep.
Which is when you're going through such a big change of like there's mortgages, if there's a mortgage, there's mortgages and there's stuff and the paperwork and then going, oh, by the way, here's a hidden sneaky fee I forgot to tell you about.
Yeah, and
That's
especially first home buyers, sorry to talk over you, but the first home buyers, they're on a strict budget. So, they need to know exactly what they're spending.
beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Tracy, talking about all things conveyancing and, how to be in a long-term relationship with husbands and keep them alive. And hopefully
I
I will
told you
see you
wine
again.
helps. Wine helps.
Wine helps. And hopefully I will see you again in person, maybe at this year's ALIBI's Awards night if we can drag you back. But
I believe
thank you
I,
so
I
much.
might be Googling some flights up to Orange. Yes, I might be doing that.
Beautiful. So if you want to stalk Tracy, you can find it in the Australian Ladies in Business Facebook community or check out TM Conveyancing. I will pop all of the links below. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Kylie. Thanks for having me. Cheers, everyone.